Have you ever wondered why, in the very moments you decide to grow, the attacks around you suddenly intensify? Why the pressure rises? Why the spiritual atmosphere feels heavier? Why your mind is tested more severely? Chosen one. If you feel this, then listen closely, because this message is not for everyone. Only those who walk the divine path, only those chosen and marked by God's hand, will feel the pull of these words in their spirit. If you are not called, you will not stay. But if you are truly chosen, this message has found you at the exact moment heaven intended, and it will shift something deep inside you. Before we go further, pause and comment 777 as a sign of divine completeness and alignment. And make sure you subscribe, tap the bell icon, and share this message with another chosen soul who needs it. You are not here by accident. God has seen your struggle, your exhaustion, your quiet battles, and He is speaking directly to you now. The attacks you feel are not punishment. They are not abandonment. They are spiritual confirmation that you are rising. As Scripture says in James 1:2-4, count it all joy, knowing that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And Isaiah 54:17 reminds you, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Chosen one, stay with me until the end. What I am about to reveal will help you understand exactly why the warfare around you has increased and why it is the clearest sign that you are growing. Why the attacks are intensifying. Chosen one, let me speak to you with the clarity of an old, seasoned spiritual teacher who has watched many rise and many fall on the sacred path. The pressure you feel right now is not a coincidence. The sudden heaviness, the strange resistance, the emotional turbulence, and the attacks coming from places you never expected. These are not random events. They are spiritual indicators, signs, markers that something within you is awakening, expanding, shifting into a greater level of divine purpose. The enemy does not fight what is not a threat, and darkness never stirs unless a great light has begun to break through. The fact that you can feel these attacks means you are growing faster than you realize. Every chosen one reaches a pivotal moment where the spiritual atmosphere around them reacts to their elevation. Heaven has already released your next level, but your physical life has not yet caught up. This in-between, this transition, is where the battle intensifies. When God is about to expand your territory, the resistance rises like a final barrier. Think of David. Before he ever wore a crown, he was chased, hunted, and cornered. Think of Joseph. Before he ever sat in the palace, he was betrayed, thrown in a pit, and sold into slavery. And Job, before God restored him and blessed him beyond measure, everything he had was shaken. These attacks were not endings. They were beginnings disguised as chaos. They were spiritual confirmations of destiny unfolding. Chosen one, you must understand that your spirit has grown louder. Your presence has become more disruptive to the forces that once surrounded you quietly. You are stepping into a higher awareness, a deeper discernment, a stronger spiritual identity. This alone creates a ripple in the unseen realm. Every time your spirit rises, something reacts. The battle around you is simply echoing the battle you have already won within. God has been stretching you, strengthening the core of your soul, refining the parts of you that needed to evolve so you can carry the weight of the assignment He placed on your life. When a chosen one grows, the enemy panics. Not because of who you are today, but because of who you are becoming. Growth exposes you. Growth exposes the lies you once believed. Growth exposes the chains that once held you. Growth exposes the patterns that used to control your emotions. Growth exposes the people who cannot walk with you into the next dimension of your calling. And as these things break away, the resistance intensifies. Not because something is wrong, but because something is right. Very right. You have entered a season where the attacks are not punishments, they are confirmations of transition. They signal that you are leaving an old frequency and stepping into a higher realm of spiritual authority. When God elevates a chosen one, there is always turbulence before stability. There is always a shaking before the settling. Imagine a tree breaking through the soil, pressure above, resistance below, tension on every side. Yet it rises because it was created to rise. You too were created to rise. Some of the attacks you feel come disguised as emotional overwhelm. Some come as fatigue or sudden confusion. Some come as conflict in relationships, unexpected disappointments, or strange setbacks. And some attacks are internal, old wounds resurfacing, old fears trying to whisper again, old insecurities reaching for your spirit one last time. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you are outgrowing what once controlled you. The enemy senses he is losing access, losing influence, losing his ability to distract you. So he intensifies his efforts, hoping you will retreat back into the old version of yourself. Chosen one, hear me clearly. The pressure is proof of your evolution. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. There is a divine expansion happening inside you. The spiritual weight you carry today is heavier only because the calling upon your life has increased. And the more your spirit rises, the more the atmosphere must adjust to your presence. You are stepping into a dimension where you will operate with greater clarity, greater wisdom, and greater spiritual authority. This requires resistance to strengthen you. It requires friction to prepare you. It requires sharpening to equip you. The enemy recognized your growth before you did. That is why the attacks came suddenly. That is why they came from unexpected places. That is why they came at moments you felt most vulnerable. But vulnerability is where God plants revelation. Vulnerability is where the soul hears him most clearly. Vulnerability is where transformation ignites. These attacks are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to reveal you. They are reminders that you carry a light that threatens darkness, a purpose that intimidates demons, a destiny that cannot be stopped. You are rising into the version of yourself God always knew you would become. This is why the battlefield feels crowded. This is why the air feels thick. This is why the path feels narrow. But do not fear the intensity. It is a sign that you are crossing into new spiritual territory. You are becoming someone the enemy hoped you would never discover. You are awakening to the truth of your identity. And that truth is powerful. Chosen one, the attacks are intensifying because your spirit is ascending. You are on the brink of breakthrough, and every force that once surrounded you senses it. But you are covered. You are chosen. You are rising. Nothing formed against you has the authority to stop what God has already spoken over your life. The battle is not a setback. It is an announcement. You are growing. The spiritual science of growth. Chosen one, you must understand a deep and sacred truth. Spiritual growth is not a quiet shift. It is not a gentle, subtle transformation. It is a profound rearranging of the unseen realms around you. When God elevates your spirit, everything connected to you, your energy, your perception, your environment, your spiritual assignments, begins to change. This change is not just internal. It vibrates outward into the world around you. And because the unseen world responds faster than the physical world, you often feel the spiritual effects long before anything in your life visibly shifts. This is where confusion can arise, because you feel something happening, but you cannot yet see it. Yet growth, true growth, always begins in the depths of the unseen. There is a spiritual science to your transformation, a divine structure through which God strengthens, expands, and refines his chosen vessels. When your spirit evolves, it stretches beyond old limits. It breaks through old patterns. It disconnects from old attachments. Growth does not simply add to you, it removes from you everything that is no longer compatible with the destiny God placed before you. You may have noticed relationships feeling strained, habits losing their appeal, environments feeling uncomfortable, and old desires fading. These are not losses. They are signs of a soul rising into a higher dimension. In the unseen realm, elevation creates movement. Your spirit begins to operate at a higher frequency, and this frequency sends ripples through everything connected to your existence. You begin to discern things you ignored before. You sense energy faster. You catch spiritual attacks sooner. You feel when someone's intentions shift. You perceive deception not through words but through spiritual instinct. This sharpening is not random. It is preparation for the next phase of your calling. God cannot elevate you without upgrading your discernment. A chosen one's growth always comes with increased spiritual sensitivity. This is why the enemy reacts. Darkness is sensitive to rising light. The moment your spirit awakens to a deeper level of truth, your authority in the spirit increases. And when your authority increases, your influence increases. When your influence increases, your impact increases. And impact is what the enemy fears. Spiritual attacks intensify precisely because your presence is disrupting the atmosphere. You carry a light that confronts darkness even without speaking. You carry wisdom that exposes deception without effort. You carry an anointing that breaks strongholds simply by existing in your purpose. Chosen one, you are being elevated not just in spirit but in identity. The spiritual science of growth is unfolding within you. What you feel is not chaos. It is construction. It is development. It is activation. You are becoming the person heaven has always known you to be. And when the chosen ones begin to awaken, the entire atmosphere shifts. This is why the attacks intensify. This is why the pressure grows. This is why your spirit feels stretched. You are in the middle of divine growth, and growth, true, sacred, heavenly growth, is never silent. You are rising into a higher realm, and everything around you must adjust to the power you are stepping into. You are not the same. You are becoming more. Signs. You are entering a higher realm. Chosen one. There comes a moment in every divine journey when the atmosphere around you begins to shift. Not subtly, not faintly, but with a weight that your spirit cannot ignore. You begin to sense that you are not where you used to be, yet not fully where God is taking you. This in-between space is sacred. It is the passageway between levels, the narrow corridor through which only the chosen can walk. And if you pay attention, you will recognize the unmistakable signs that you are entering a higher spiritual realm. One of the first signs is the sudden awareness of movement within your spirit. You feel things more deeply. You sense things sooner. Your intuition sharpens like a blade that has finally matured into its purpose. You are no longer guided by fear, emotion, or impulses. You are guided by spiritual cues that come from a place beyond your understanding. This is not imagination. This is spiritual elevation. When God calls a soul upward, He first awakens its spiritual senses. Your discernment grows stronger. Your inner voice becomes clearer. Your spiritual instincts become quicker. This sharpening is the evidence of God preparing you for new realms of responsibility and authority. Another sign is the increasing intensity of your dreams and visions. They may come suddenly or they may unfold consistently, but they carry weight. Some dreams feel like warnings, others like instructions, others like revelation. Pay attention, for the dream realm is one of the first places heaven whispers about your next level. When a chosen one is being elevated, God often speaks in symbols, impressions, messages that stir the deeper parts of the soul. You begin to feel a connection to Scripture in a way you never have before. You read a verse, and it comes alive. You hear a message, and it pierces your heart. This is not coincidence. It is spiritual tuning. Another sign that you are entering a higher realm is the sudden shift in your relationships. People you once felt comfortable around become draining. Conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. Environments where you once fit no longer carry the same energy. You are outgrowing what once aligned with your lower level. God is elevating your spirit, and as He does, He disconnects you from anything that cannot travel with you. This disconnection is not punishment, it is preservation. Higher realms require cleaner atmospheres. God protects His chosen by removing the distractions, attachments, and influences that would hinder their elevation. Chosen one, you will also notice a rising inner strength, one that you cannot explain. Even in moments of attack or exhaustion, there is a resilience inside you that surprises even you. You may feel tired, yet you refuse to give up. You may feel stretched, yet you continue to stand. This strength is not human. It is divine. It is God expanding your capacity to handle the next dimension of your calling. When you feel this supernatural endurance, know that you are being prepared for greater things. In this stage, the spiritual attacks also shift in nature. They are no longer meant to distract you, but to test your ability to stand in your authority. And when you begin to recognize these attacks for what they are, mere illusions meant to derail your focus, you begin to walk with a boldness that darkness cannot comprehend. You stop reacting emotionally and begin responding spiritually. You stop questioning your identity and start speaking with authority. You stop shrinking yourself and start embodying the power God placed within you. This shift is one of the clearest signs that you are entering a higher realm. Your power becomes undeniable. A chosen one in spiritual elevation also experiences heightened sensitivity to energy. Places feel heavier or lighter, people feel safe or unsafe, decisions feel guided or blocked. This sensitivity is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to guide you. God increases your awareness so you can navigate with precision. The path ahead of you requires a different level of insight, and your spirit is being trained to detect what your natural eyes cannot see. You may also feel a divine pull toward isolation. This is not loneliness, it is consecration. God separates His chosen ones before He elevates them. In isolation, you hear God more clearly. You understand yourself more deeply. You discover your purpose with more certainty. The silence becomes your teacher. The solitude becomes your sanctuary. And what once felt like emptiness begins to feel like alignment. This stage shapes your spirit to hold the weight of your divine destiny. Another undeniable sign is the way unexpected revelations come to you. Answers you didn't search for, clarity you didn't request, wisdom that feels older than you are. This is the evidence of spiritual maturity. When God elevates a chosen one, He downloads new levels of understanding. You begin to see beyond circumstances, beyond appearances, beyond the illusions of the physical world. You understand the spiritual meaning behind your battles and the reason behind your growth. You start recognizing divine patterns unfolding in your life. You see God's hand where you once saw chaos. Chosen one. Comment 333 if you can feel this shift happening in your spirit. Let it be a sign of divine alignment and the rising of your higher self. You may also experience sudden bursts of creativity, inspiration, or direction. Ideas flow effortlessly. Solutions appear quickly. You feel compelled to act, to build, to move toward something greater. This is because heaven is positioning you. When you enter a higher realm, your purpose begins calling you with greater force. You feel a pull to create, to serve, to speak, to rise. This internal pull is the voice of destiny. But perhaps the most powerful sign of entering a higher realm is the peace that begins to settle over you, even in the midst of turmoil. It is not the peace of circumstances, it is the peace of understanding. It is the peace Jesus spoke of in John 14:27. My peace I give you, not as the world gives. This peace is the signature of divine elevation. It means your spirit has adjusted to the higher realm even if your surroundings have not yet caught up. You begin to walk differently. You pray differently. You think differently. You speak differently. You no longer identify with the version of yourself that struggled to understand your purpose. Now you see the pathway more clearly. You feel the calling more intensely. You embody the authority more fully. That is the shift of elevation. Chosen one, when these signs begin to appear, understand that you are no longer the person you once were. You have stepped into a new dimension of your calling. Your spirit has risen, your vision has expanded, and your destiny has awakened. You are entering a higher realm, and heaven is preparing you for everything that comes with it. The enemy's strategy against your growth. Chosen one, now that you understand the spiritual signs of elevation, you must also understand what happens on the other side of that rise. Every time God pulls you upward, the enemy adjusts his strategy. He studies your patterns, your wounds, your vulnerabilities, your routines. He looks for the places where your armor has been weakened by past battles. Not because he is powerful, but because he is desperate. The enemy fears your growth. He fears what you will become once you fully awaken. He fears the authority you are stepping into. And so, when a chosen one elevates, the enemy seeks to create confusion, friction, distraction, or emotional heaviness. Anything that can cause you to doubt what God is doing in your life. You may have noticed that the attacks shift as you grow. Early attacks were loud, messy, chaotic. They came from obvious sources. They were meant to intimidate you. But now the enemy uses subtle strategies because he knows you have matured. He knows you are not easily shaken by obvious threats anymore. He knows that the chosen ones who rise cannot be broken by the same weapons used in their earlier seasons. So he adapts. He becomes quieter, more calculated, more strategic. The attack becomes personal, not because you are weak, but because you have become dangerous. One of the first strategies the enemy uses is mental interference. He whispers doubts, fears, and insecurities in moments when your spirit is most open. He tries to attach old thoughts to your new identity. He tries to bring past wounds into your present elevation. If you have ever felt sudden fear without reason, sudden discouragement without cause, sudden heaviness in your mind at the very moment you are making progress, understand that this is not you. This is spiritual resistance. The enemy wants to influence your inner dialogue because he knows that a chosen one's power begins in the mind. If he can distort your thoughts, he can slow your growth. But if you recognize the attack, he loses his influence. Chosen one, let me teach you a principle many overlook. Spiritual attacks often begin when your identity begins to solidify. When you start understanding who you truly are in God. When you stop shrinking yourself. When you stop questioning your calling. When you stop doubting your worthiness. This is when the unseen world reacts. You have stepped into a truth that cannot be undone. This truth empowers you. It aligns you with heaven's agenda. And alignment with heaven always stirs resistance from forces that benefited from your confusion. Growth also shifts your inner landscape. You begin to confront emotions you once suppressed. You heal wounds you once ignored. You challenge lies you once believed. This internal awakening is part of the spiritual science. God cannot pour new revelation into a broken vessel without first making room. Growth is the soul expanding its capacity. Every chosen one must undergo this refining. It is not easy, but it is necessary. Scripture says in 1 Peter 1:7 that your faith is tested, so that it may be proven genuine and result in praise, glory, and honor. Growth is God proving the strength He placed within you. During this season, your dreams may become more vivid. Your visions may sharpen. You may feel sudden spiritual downloads, intuitive nudges, or unexplainable guidance that leads you toward your purpose. Pay attention. This is your spirit becoming more aligned with divine instruction. When God is preparing to elevate you, He adjusts your inner compass. You start seeing patterns, recognizing signs, and understanding messages you once overlooked. Your steps become more intentional, not because you plan them, but because your spirit is being guided. Another part of the spiritual science is the breaking of old cycles. Growth disrupts repetition. You may notice that you no longer tolerate what once drained you. You no longer entertain what once distracted you. You no longer cling to what once comforted you. The cycle has been broken, and your spirit knows it. This disruption can feel uncomfortable because the familiar is dissolving. But this dissolution is evidence of divine advancement. When God upgrades you, the old version of you cannot survive the transition. Chosen one, understand also that spiritual growth alters your spiritual weight. In the unseen world, every soul carries weight, authority, influence, light, and purpose. As you grow, your spiritual weight increases. You become more noticeable to darkness. You become more significant in the kingdom. You become a beacon. And beacons are impossible to ignore. This is why you may feel watched spiritually, why you sense resistance, why attacks feel targeted. It is because your presence has intensified. You are no longer operating at the level you once were. Your rise is visible to the unseen world long before you perceive it. Growth also clarifies your spiritual hearing. You begin to discern God's voice more clearly. You sense when He is guiding you, redirecting you, warning you, or preparing you. You start distinguishing between your emotions and divine instruction. You begin to trust intuition not as a feeling but as a spiritual tool. This clarity is a gift God gives only to those who have endured the refining process. It is the reward for faithfulness in the fire. Yet perhaps the most profound aspect of this spiritual science is this: God allows the pressure because pressure produces transformation. Pressure removes impurities. Pressure strengthens character. Pressure exposes hidden strengths. Without pressure, diamonds do not form. Without fire, gold is not purified. Without resistance, chosen ones do not rise. The attacks you feel are part of a divine mechanism designed to reveal your power. You may not realize it yet, but every battle has been shaping you. Every tear has been cleansing you. Every disappointment has been redirecting you. Every spiritual attack has been teaching you discernment, resilience, patience, and spiritual authority. God has been preparing you quietly, molding you into a vessel capable of carrying the next level of your assignment. Another strategy is emotional disturbance. The enemy knows that chosen ones feel deeply. You carry compassion, intuition, discernment, sensitivity, and spiritual awareness. These qualities make you powerful, but they can also make you vulnerable to emotional attacks. So he tries to overwhelm your heart. He stirs confusion in relationships. He triggers old emotional wounds. He brings sudden waves of sadness or frustration, not because something is wrong with you, but because your heart is expanding. Your spiritual capacity is increasing, and emotional pressure is one of the enemy's attempts to interrupt that growth. Yet the chosen ones who recognize this tactic rise above it. They understand that emotional storms do not define them. They reveal what is trying to hinder them. The enemy also attacks through people. Not always strangers, not always outsiders. Sometimes through those closest to you. People may misunderstand you, misjudge you, or act in ways that reflect spiritual interference rather than their true hearts. The enemy uses human vessels to deliver emotional blows, hoping you will retreat into isolation or silence. But God allows these moments not to harm you, but to separate you from attachments that cannot survive your next level. Every chosen one eventually learns that elevation requires adjustment in relationships. You are not losing people. You are shedding what cannot grow with you. Another major strategy is distraction. The enemy does not need to destroy you if he can distract you. He will place unnecessary situations in your path. He will stir meaningless conflict. He will fill your time with noise. He will send temptations in the form of opportunities that look good but do not align with your calling. He knows that chosen ones must protect their focus. And so, when he cannot attack your strength, he tries to interrupt your clarity. This is why, during spiritual elevation, you must be mindful of what you allow into your mind, your environment, and your spirit. You are entering a realm where focus is a weapon. Distraction is the enemy's attempt to dull your blade. Another subtle tactic the enemy uses is fatigue. Physical fatigue, emotional fatigue, spiritual fatigue. You may suddenly feel drained without reason. You may feel tired despite resting. You may feel unmotivated despite having clarity. This is because the enemy hopes to wear you down gradually. He knows he cannot stop your destiny, so he tries to slow your momentum. But this fatigue is also a sign, because chosen ones do not get tired when they are failing. They get tired when they are on the brink of breakthrough. The enemy attacks your energy when heaven is preparing to release new strength. When you feel drained, remind yourself, the enemy is reacting to something God is building in you. Chosen one, there is also a strategy the enemy uses that many do not notice. Silence. When heaven is quiet, the enemy sees an opening. He tries to twist the silence into abandonment. He tries to make you believe God has stopped guiding you. He amplifies your fears in the quiet moments. But silence is not divine distance. Silence is divine preparation. When you cannot hear God, it is because God is building something in the unseen. Do not mistake silence for absence. The enemy only speaks in God's silence because he knows a revelation is coming. Another tactic is spiritual intimidation. You may feel watched, spiritually pressured, or surrounded by negative energy. You may sense interference during prayer or feel resistance when trying to elevate your spirit. These are signs that you have entered a realm where your authority threatens darkness. The enemy wants you to fear your own power, to second-guess the strength God placed within you. But intimidation is nothing more than an illusion. Darkness intimidates only when it cannot defeat you. Your rise has already been seen in the spirit, and the enemy hopes intimidation will make you shrink back from stepping fully into it. But one of the most strategic attacks is confusion. When a chosen one grows, clarity becomes their weapon. The enemy attempts to blur that clarity. He tries to make you question your path, your decisions, your discernment, your progress. If you suddenly feel unsure about things you were once confident in, understand that this confusion is not natural. It is spiritual interference. The enemy wants to cloud your vision because you have begun to see too much. When clarity is attacked, know that you are close to something major. The enemy attacks what he fears, and he fears your discernment more than anything else. Chosen one, hear this deeply. Your growth has forced the enemy to recalibrate his strategies. You intimidate him now. You unsettle him. You disrupt the atmosphere he once controlled. And because you have entered a higher realm, he is using every tool available to distract, discourage, or delay you. But he cannot stop you. He can only attempt to influence how you see yourself. If he can make you underestimate your power, he can make you walk beneath the authority God has given you. That is why you must hold on to the truth of who you are. Scripture reminds you in 2 Corinthians 4:8-9, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed." These words are not just comforting, they are prophetic descriptions of the chosen ones in elevation. You may feel pressure, but you are not crushed. You may feel confusion, but you are not defeated. You may feel opposition, but you are not forsaken. You may feel attacked, but you are not destroyed. You are rising into a greater dimension of spiritual authority, and the enemy knows it. That is why the attacks feel personal. That is why they feel targeted. That is why they come when you are closest to your breakthrough. Because the enemy knows that once you fully step into your divine identity, nothing he does can influence you again. Chosen one, the enemy's strategies are not signs of your failure. They are signs of your significance. They reveal the weight of your destiny, the magnitude of your calling, and the power you are stepping into. You are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being attacked because you are dangerous. You are entering a higher realm, and everything in the unseen world knows it. God's response to your battles. Chosen one, now that you understand the strategies of the enemy, it is time for you to understand the far greater truth. How God responds to every battle you face. Because while the enemy reacts out of fear, God moves with purpose. The enemy attacks because he sees what you are becoming, but God allows certain pressures because he knows what they will produce within you. He is not distant from your struggle. He is not silent in your suffering. He is shaping you, fortifying you, and preparing you in ways that are unseen yet deeply intentional. Every chosen one must understand this divine pattern, because without this understanding, you may misinterpret your spiritual journey and overlook the glory that is unfolding through your trials. When God sees the attacks rising against you, he does not panic. He does not rush to remove every obstacle, nor does he eliminate every discomfort the moment it appears. Instead, he strengthens your foundation. God's first response to your battle is to fortify the inner parts of your spirit. He begins to strengthen your heart, deepen your faith, sharpen your discernment, and steady your mind. While you are focused on what is happening outside of you, God is working on what is happening within you. Because the outer world only has as much power as the inner world allows. If your spirit is firm, nothing external can shake you. God understands this, and so his first priority is to make sure you are strong enough to carry what he is about to place in your hands. There is a reason Scripture says in Psalm 34:19, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all." Notice what this means. The righteous do face affliction. The chosen ones are not exempt from hardship. But God delivers, not before the battle, but through it and out of it. Deliverance is a process, not an instant escape. God walks you through the fire so that you learn how to withstand heat. He walks you through the storm so that you learn how to speak to the winds. He walks you through the shadows so that you learn how to carry the light. God's second response to your battles is preparation for promotion. Every attack that comes against you is secretly pushing you into deeper strength. You may not see the shift yet, but God does. He is preparing you for opportunities that require a stronger version of yourself. He is preparing you for responsibilities that demand resilience. He is preparing you for destiny moments that require spiritual maturity. If God allowed you to reach your next level without this refining process, the weight of that elevation would crush you. But because he loves you, he prepares you. He uses every trial, every disappointment, every moment of confusion as a tool to shape your spirit. Chosen one, think of David again. Before he ever faced Goliath, God allowed him to confront lions and bears in secret, not to harm him, but to prepare him. The battles no one saw were training for the battle everyone would witness. The same is true for you. The private attacks you face now, the ones that feel heavy, the ones you cannot explain, the ones you endure silently, are preparing you for a public victory. God is training your hands for war and your spirit for elevation. Another way God responds to your battles is by exposing what cannot remain in your life. Warfare reveals who is for you and who is against you. When the enemy attacks, God allows it to reveal the hidden intentions of people around you. Suddenly you see who genuinely stands with you. You recognize who drains your energy. You discern who carries jealousy, envy, or spiritual interference. And God uses these revelations to prune your environment. Elevation requires purity. God cannot elevate you while you are surrounded by people who cannot understand or support your calling. God also responds by increasing his presence around you. Even when you feel alone, he draws near. Even when you cannot hear him, he is speaking through signs, impressions, dreams, and whispers in your spirit. At times, you may feel spiritually dry or disconnected, but these moments are not abandonment. They are invitations. God pulls you into deeper dependence on him. He allows you to seek him more earnestly, and through that seeking, your relationship with him strengthens. The battle becomes the doorway to intimacy. Another profound way God responds is by giving you divine clarity at the exact moment you need it. You may go through long periods of confusion, but at the critical point when the decision matters, he guides you. He aligns your steps. He positions you exactly where he wants you. You are never out of place, even when you feel lost, because God is orchestrating your steps with precision. He is guiding your path even through uncertainty. The attacks may cloud your vision temporarily, but God never allows you to remain in darkness. When the timing is right, revelation comes. He also responds with supernatural protection. There are battles you never saw because God blocked them. There are attacks planned against you that never reached you because God intercepted them. There are enemies who intended harm, but God confused their plans. You have survived situations that could have destroyed you, and it was not by chance. God has been covering you even when you were not aware of the danger. His hand has been on your life since the beginning, and nothing formed against you can prosper because His protection surrounds you like a shield. Chosen one, God responds to your battles by increasing your authority. Every time you overcome an attack, your spiritual rank rises. You gain wisdom, you gain confidence, you gain discernment. You gain spiritual understanding. You gain the ability to help others who will walk the same path one day. Your battles are shaping you into a leader, a warrior, a vessel of spiritual influence. And with each victory, your spirit becomes more mature, more disciplined, and more prepared for the assignment God has destined for you. God also responds by preparing the enemy's defeat long before the enemy attacks. By the time darkness moves against you, God has already created the victory. The battle you fear has already been won in the spirit. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. What you see as warfare, God sees as confirmation that His plans for you are unfolding. Nothing catches Him by surprise. He uses the enemy's strategy to elevate you. What was meant to destroy you becomes the very tool God uses to strengthen you. Another response from God is realignment. When attacks come, God shifts your path so that you move toward your destiny more efficiently. He redirects your steps, sometimes by force, sometimes by shutting doors, sometimes by stirring discomfort. This realignment is not pleasant, but it is necessary. God will never let a chosen one remain in a place that is beneath their calling. He will shake you until you move. He will disrupt your comfort until you step into purpose. Finally, God responds to your battles with restoration. He will not allow you to come out of a season of warfare empty-handed. Every loss, every tear, every disappointment, every struggle is recorded in heaven, and God restores with interest. What the enemy stole, God returns multiplied. What was broken, God rebuilds stronger. What was taken, God replaces with something greater. His restoration is not symbolic, it is real, tangible, transformative. Chosen one, understand this deeply. God is not passive in your battle. He is not distant from your pain. He is not unaware of the attacks against you. His response is strategic, purposeful, and filled with love. The enemy attacks because he fears what you are becoming, but God strengthens you because He knows what you are destined to be. Every battle is shaping you. Every attack is training you, every hardship is preparing you, and every moment of pressure is evidence that God is elevating you into a greater realm of spiritual authority. You are not fighting alone. Heaven is backing you. God is guiding you. His angels are encamping around you, and your victory is already written. Nothing formed against you can prosper. Not because the attack isn't real, but because God's response to your battle is always greater than the battle itself. How to walk through the fire without fear. Chosen one, now that you understand the purpose behind the attacks and the divine responses shaping your journey, you must learn how to walk through the fire without fear. Because elevation does not mean the absence of challenges, it means you are becoming someone who knows how to move through them with strength, wisdom, and spiritual authority. The flames around you are not meant to burn you. They are meant to reveal the version of you that God has been forming in the hidden places of your spirit. And when you understand how to stand inside that fire, you step into a power that darkness cannot touch. The first thing you must remember is that fear is not your natural state. Fear is not a part of your divine design. Fear is a reaction the enemy hopes you will embrace, because fear paralyzes the chosen ones. It blinds you to your own strength. It distorts your perception. It makes you forget who walks with you. But when you recognize fear as an illusion, its power dissolves. The fire is intimidating only when you forget that God stands with you inside it. The chosen ones who understand this walk through flames the way Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego walked through theirs, untouched, unbothered, unafraid. Not because the fire wasn't real, but because God's presence was greater. As you move through this season, one of your greatest responsibilities is to guard your inner atmosphere. The external world may be chaotic, but your internal world must remain steady. Do not let your thoughts wander into dark places. Do not let your emotions dictate your direction. Do not let temporary discomfort convince you that something is wrong. Spiritual maturity is knowing that peace is not found in the absence of battles. It is found in the presence of God. When you anchor your mind in truth, the fire loses its voice. Walking through the fire requires discipline. Discipline over your thoughts, your reactions, your words, and your energy. You must know when to speak and when to remain silent, when to move and when to be still, when to fight and when to let God fight for you. Discipline is not restriction, it is protection. It keeps you aligned with your purpose when the enemy tries to distract you. It keeps your spirit focused when your mind is tempted to wander. Discipline allows the chosen ones to maintain clarity even when the atmosphere around them shifts. Chosen one, you must also learn to remain rooted in prayer. Not the kind of prayer that is rushed or desperate, but the kind that strengthens your spirit, aligns your heart, and opens your ears to divine instruction. Prayer is not just communication with God. It is spiritual grounding. It reminds you who you are and whose you are. It brings heaven into your atmosphere. When you pray consistently, the fire around you becomes nothing more than background noise. Your spirit rises above the flames because your connection to God becomes stronger than the heat of your circumstances. Another key to walking through the fire is trusting divine timing. The enemy wants you to panic. He wants you to believe you are late, lost, or left behind. But God does not operate on human schedules. He aligns your life with eternal timing. Every delay, every shift, every unexpected turn is structured for your benefit. Trusting God means releasing the need to control every outcome. It means understanding that what feels like waiting is actually preparation, and what feels like pressure is actually positioning. When you trust divine timing, you stop forcing doors to open. Instead, you allow God to lead you to the door that was always meant for you. Walking through the fire also means carrying yourself with spiritual confidence, not arrogance, not pride, confidence. The confidence that comes from knowing you are chosen, protected, and destined. The enemy hopes you will shrink yourself, doubt your worth, or act as though you are powerless. But the chosen ones carry themselves with quiet authority. They understand their purpose. They understand their identity. They understand their divine backing. And when you carry this confidence, the fire cannot intimidate you because you know it cannot stop you. You must also embrace the stillness God brings into your life. When you are elevating spiritually, God slows certain things down on purpose. He reduces noise. He closes certain doors. He separates you from certain people. Not to isolate you, but to strengthen you. Stillness is where you hear God's voice the loudest. Stillness is where revelation flows. Stillness is where clarity rises. Do not resist the quiet seasons. They are sacred. They are the places where God reconstructs the chosen ones from the inside out. Another important truth is this. Walking through the fire requires letting go of old versions of yourself. You cannot take fear, doubt, insecurity, or old identities into the next dimension of your calling. Fire burns away what no longer belongs. It destroys the layers that once limited you. It frees you from the emotional and spiritual residues of your past. If you feel parts of you dying, disappearing, or dissolving, do not panic. It is the fire removing what cannot exist in your future. You are not losing yourself. You are becoming yourself. Chosen one, you must also learn how to rest in God. Rest does not mean inactivity. Rest means trust. It means releasing the mental battle. It means laying your worries at His feet and allowing Him to take charge. True rest is spiritual confidence that says, even when I cannot see the way, I know God is guiding it. Rest is a weapon. When you rest in God, the enemy loses his ability to provoke you. He loses his ability to influence your emotions. He loses the power to drain your energy. Rest is a declaration of faith. Finally, walking through the fire without fear means remembering that the fire is temporary, but the transformation is permanent. Seasons of testing do not last forever. Valleys do not stretch endlessly. Night does not remain without morning. God never leaves His chosen ones in a place of suffering without bringing them out stronger, wiser, and more equipped than they entered. The fire is shaping you. The fire is preparing you. The fire is proving your faith. And when you emerge, nothing about you will be the same. Chosen one, do not fear the fire. You were built for it. You were chosen for it. You were prepared for it long before you realized your calling. The fire is the bridge to your next level, and you will walk through it with God beside you, within you, and ahead of you. You will not burn. You will rise. Conclusion. Chosen one, now that you have walked with me through this message, I want you to understand something deeply. Everything you are facing right now, every attack, every moment of pressure, every unexpected wave of emotion or confusion is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are growing. Heaven sees you. God knows exactly where you stand. And nothing about your journey has been accidental. The intensity around you has been the evidence of your elevation. The resistance has been the confirmation of your transformation. You are not losing. You are transitioning. You are not being broken. You are being built. God has been shaping you through every battle. He has been strengthening what was once weak, healing what was once wounded, and awakening what was once dormant. You are stepping into a higher realm of spiritual authority, and although the path has been heavy at times, you are rising into exactly who God intended you to be. Walk forward now with the assurance that you are not alone, not forgotten, not overlooked. God has been preparing you in silence, guiding you in shadows, and protecting you in unseen ways. As the scripture declares in Isaiah 41:10, "Fear not, for I am with you. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." This promise is yours. It belongs to you because you are chosen. Stand firm. Move boldly. Continue your journey with a heart full of faith and a spirit anchored in God's truth. And remember, the attacks you feel are not the end. They are the announcement of your becoming. Chosen one, rise. Your time is here.